So I like the way this is set up for substitution because it shows step by step how you're supposed to do it at the top. So you first need to solve one equation for x or y. So you're isolating a variable. It doesn't matter which one. Then you're going to substitute the resulting equation from step 1 into the other equation for that variable and solve for the remaining variable. Then you will substitute your answer from step 3 into either original equation to find the other variable. So, number 7, and this is number 7 because it goes off of the page that you guys just had. So you had 1 through 6, and now we have 7 through 12. So, we are going to have, let's do, this one is going to be blue. So top one is blue, bottom one is red. We are going to take all of this blue right here. So y equals -7 minus 1. And we are going to plug it in for this y. So we are going to have -7x minus 1 equals x minus 9. Then we are going to solve for x. So when I'm looking at this, immediately I see that I have a -7x and a positive 1x because there's technically a 1 right here. What I want to do is, for me personally, I like to try to make my x's be positive so I don't have to divide by a negative, okay? So we're going to add 7x to both sides. So we will get -1 equals 1x plus 7x is 8x minus 9. Then I want to move my -9 to the other side, so I'm going to add 9 to both sides. So we will get -1 plus 9 is 8 equals 8x. Then we will divide by 8 on both sides to get the x by itself. So we will have x equals 1. Okay, so looking back up at my steps, I have step 1 was already done. Both of my equations were already solved for y. Step 2 was substituting. That is this right here. So if I'm putting this, 1 is already done up here. This is step 2. All of this right here is step 3. Step 4 is to substitute our answer into one of the original equations. So we're going to take x equals 1, and we're going to plug it in. Do you want to plug it into the blue equation or the red equation? At the top. So top or bottom? How about we do the red equation? We'll have y equals 1 minus 9. So my 1 came from down here into the equation. The red is from this equation over here. Okay? So we're going to have 1 minus 9, and we are going to get y equals -8. My final solution for this is going to be putting my answers, my x and my y, into a coordinate pair. So we're going to have 1, comma, -8. This is what I want to see for final solutions. Okay? Let's do another one. Let's do number 8. Okay, so step 1 was to see if anything is already solved for a variable. If it's not, we need to solve one of them for a variable. Is the red or the blue solved for a variable already? Does anybody see that? Are one of these equations solved for a variable? Yes, the top one is, the blue one is. So there's our step 1. Step 2 is to plug it in or substitute it in for that variable that it is solved for. So we're going to take negative 5x plus 30, and we are going to plug it in for this y right here. So we're going to get 7x plus 3 times negative 5x plus 30 equals 42. Then we are going to solve for x. First thing we're going to do is we're going to distribute this 3. So we'll get 7x 3 times negative 5x is negative 15x. And 3 times 30 is 90. Okay. Then we are going to solve. We have 7x minus 15x is negative 8x. So we combined our like terms there. Then we're going to subtract 90 from both sides. If I wanted to make that negative 8x positive, I could have added that and then subtracted the 42. But that would have made more steps. So if it's a negative and it makes more steps to change it, you can leave it as a negative. That's what I kind of try to do. But whatever you feel comfortable with. So we have negative 8x equals negative 48. So 42 minus 90 is negative 48. Then we are going to divide by what is attached to our x. So we're going to divide by negative 8 on both sides, because we want our x to have a positive 1 attached to it. So we are going to get x equals a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 48 divided by 8 is 6, I believe. So we're going to take our x equals 6, and we're going to plug it into one of our equations. I think the best one to plug it into is going to be the top one, because it is already solved for the y, so I don't have to move anything around. I just have to plug in the number. So I'm going to plug it into this blue equation right here. So we're going to get y equals negative 5 times 6 plus 30. Negative 5 times 6 is negative 30. Negative 30 plus 30 is 0, so y equals 0. So my final answer, so that was step 4, final answer is going to be 6, 0 as a coordinate pair. All right. Let's do one more. Let's do number 9. We have these two equations now. We have the top. I'm going to keep doing blue as the top and red as the bottom. First thing I need to do is see if anything is already solved for a variable. Neither of these equations are. So I need to solve for a variable. If I'm looking at this and I I have a 6 attached to this x, that means I have to divide. I have a -5 attached to this y, that means I have to divide if I solve for that one. I have a 7 attached here to this x, I still have to divide. But this y right here has a 1 attached to it because I can't see it, right? So I want to solve for that y because I have less work to do to solve for that variable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 7x from both sides to isolate my y. Okay, so there's my red equation. I've got it solved for a variable, so there's step 1. Step 2, we're going to plug it into the blue equation. So we're going to take this right here, and we're going to plug it in for this y right here. So we're going to have 6x minus 5 times -7x plus 22 equals -28. Then, so there's step 2. Step 3 is to solve for the variable that's in the equation still. So we're going to take our -5 and distribute it to everything in the parentheses. So we're going to drop down our 6x. -5 times -7x is going to be positive 35x. -5 times 22 is going to be -110. We're going to put equals -28. We're just dropping that down. Then we are going to combine our like terms. 6x plus 35x is 41x. We're going to drop down our -110 equals -28. Didn't change anything there. I just combined my terms. Then I'm going to add my 110 to both sides. So we're going to have 41x equals, that should be 82. Then we're going to divide by 41 on both sides. So x equals 2. Our last step is to plug it into the equation. So I'm going to take my x equals 2. We're going to plug it into either of the original equations. So I'm going to take my x equals 2 and plug it into one of these two up here. Not this one that I adjusted. Okay? So I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to do in the red one. Let's do that. Let's do 7 times 2 plus y equals 22. We're going to multiply our 7 times our 2 and get 14 plus y equals 22. Then we are going to subtract 14 from both sides and get y equals 6. So our final answer, our coordinate, is going to be 2, 6. All right, I'm going to have you guys work on 10 through 12, and we will probably look over this at a later date.